Hello, friends. What have you got today? That was a fly. And this is a fly. This is a fly car. This is one of my gifts through my daughter. Thank you. And I got this one, as usual, from Slotcar Union in France, in one of my boxes. Now, fly. Let me open this. Fly cars. In the past, I've had SCX cars, I've had Ninko cars, of course, Scale Electrics, and now Carrera, Revo Slot I've had, and I've one poly car which I haven't opened yet. I'll be showing you that in the near future. But fly, I think I had one fly years ago. I could be wrong, but I haven't bought a fly in ages. A very good price. Fly cars, very good price. Now, look at this. I'll turn that around to the camera. I mean, the quality is fantastic. I love Renault 5s, and I was young Renault 5s, GT turbos, Renault 5s. One of my first cars was a Renault 5. It wasn't a GT turbo, it was a completely bog standard. In my head, it was a GT turbo. But that, look at that. That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The modelling of it, you know, you've got your spotlights, you've got your, you know, your driver and your co-pilot for rallying purposes, you know. And the detail is fantastic. I love this. As a standalone model, as a static model, as a shelf queen, which there will be none of here, it's beautiful. And the details inside are fantastic. You've got the driver seat belts and, you know, everything. You know, he's holding the steering wheel, the co-driver's holding the map. You have interior details, you have your wiper blades, you know, very good quality decals, paint, very well put on, very high quality when you look close to any of the stickers or anything, you know. Very impressive car. I really, really like it. But, as I said to my friends recently, when I was watching Marty's live post, it runs like a sack of spuds. Absolute Marty Ford live post. If you guys want to watch a live post, one of the many I watch, you have Pete from the UK, and he has his posts. You have Raoul, who has his post, Conquest Racing Club. And you have Marty Ford, who's Two Lines Raceway. They've posted them. I'd regularly comment on them. Anyway, getting back to the car. As I said to the guys, it runs like a sack of spuds. And it's terrible. Now, reason why you accelerate, it's very hard to accelerate. You know, you've nothing, you've sudden acceleration. On braking, you've sudden braking. And at all points, let me just take this out. It all points to a problem with tires binding on the body or something like that. Now, I've checked the tires. Nothing catches on the body. I've checked underneath. There's clearance. So the problem is, right, it's here, somewhere. Motor, gears, axle, wheels, okay? And if I spin my wheel, it seizes, it goes, that's loose, now that's very tight. If I force it, now it spins. You see? A little bit of side play. Go forward a bit where it catches, cut, no side play in the axle. Wheels aren't moving. Watch, move it forward a bit, loose, side play. So, axle, problem, maybe warped or something like that. Crown gear, maybe, not quite right. Pinion's okay because it spins this much. So that's a complete 1 or 2 revolutions of the pinion, and it's okay. Do you understand? So I need to take this body off and try and find out why this is binding up at the back. After I do this, I'm going to also do the toothpaste trick. I couldn't find any grinding paste for this in my local car shop. I asked them for grinding paste for grinding in valves. I asked them, did they have T-cut? They never heard of T-cut. This is always the problems, They probably have a different product. All the products they have are sprays or they're oil, watery-based products. I need something like T-cut. But the whitening toothpaste is the other option I've seen online, so I'm going to give that a go. First, I'm going to take this apart. Now, I've had this apart already. I've run it around the track. It runs terrible. And I'm just connected up here to a power supply. And I'll give you an example of how off and on the motor is. Just hold on a second, guys. So, guys, have a listen to this as an example of a car that's binding somewhere, either in the axle or the crown gear or something. Okay, got to give it a little bit low power, okay? Give it a bit of power to get it moving again. Hold on. I'll just... See, that was stuck there. I need my hand to get it going. And it sounds rough as hell. If I turn it up, you'll have a listen. That's almost catching. Gives it a bit less power. That's stuck now. If I use my finger, see? Get a bit more power, it'll start turning. Okay, guys, so what I'm going to do with that is take off the body, and I'm going to have an initial look at the crown gear and see if the axle is bent, see if the axle is moving okay. But FLY, you make beautiful cars. I know from previous posts from watching the guys that they do need a bit of work. The FLY cars usually need a little bit of work to get running right. So I hope I can get this running right, because as a model, it's beautiful. I think it's absolutely fabulous. So bear with me, guys, and I'll get the body off this. Now, so I've removed the axle. I put some weight in this car when I was adjusting it. You know, the usual with me, magnets out, weight in. Anyway, so that's it running without the axle. Okay. So, motor's running perfect, very low speed. Nothing wobbling around. If you look close at that gear, you can see there's a lot of plastic still on the gear and that, you know, it's not very well finished. So it could be just a gear mesh problem. Now, just put this down for a second. I'll show you. I've popped the axle. I'll pop that out. Let me get this to focus. Now, and your plastic bearings are okay. No problem. Nothing binding there. Nothing binding there. Okay. So it's not those. So I really think it's the crown gear is resting too hard against the pinion. It's the gear mesh, I think, is the problem. See if I can spin this. Okay, let me just slot this in here. I'll just slot this in loosely into the car. 1, 2. I'll get this away from the the gear away from the pinion. That needs to come out a little bit. Alright, just let me pop out this motor for a second. As usual, guys, with Harry, you're doing this with me. Okay. So that's it running. Now that crown gear seems to be turning okay. It doesn't seem to be... There's not too much side-to-side play on it. It doesn't look too warped or anything. And there's no binding of the axle. Axle spinning okay. So, you know, if your axle spinning okay in your bearings, there's no big warp on the axle. Let's see if I can get it to sit this way. All right, let me get it. Okay. There's no big warping of the axle. The mind your tire, that's not a problem. There's no touching of the tires on the body. If you look under the body there, you see there's no marks where the tires are touching, front or back. Okay. So realistically, it all points to these gears, the meshing of these gears, I think in this particular car is the problem. They're just a bit too hard. Just sitting a little bit too hard, you know, against each other. So I'm going to do the toothpaste trick, which is basically you run the car at a very low speed and put whitening toothpaste on the gears. That's all I can get at the moment. And run at very low speed and keep on adding whitening toothpaste in. And hopefully it grinds in the gears just a little bit. And let's see where we go from there. So that's what I'm going to try next. So what I've done here is I've put the car back on its original base that it comes with. I've connected up my cables from my power supply. Okay, you can hear how rough that is still. Anyway, so what I've done is I've taken the tires off. Okay, just to reduce any weight sitting on the base. What I'm going to do is put a piece of paper in here. Lift the car up a little bit. Piece of paper in here. All right. Screwdriver in here. Just to lift the car up. Make sure nothing's touching underneath. Okay. So if we turn on the power supply. Okay. Spinning freely. And I have my original screw holding it on underneath. So I can sit there and I can run like that. So I'll just put that down there. Okay. Zoom in a little bit. Now what you want to do is have it running fairly slowly. I'm no expert now, guys. I'm just showing you what I've seen done on YouTube. So run it in fairly slowly and then start adding some toothpaste to the gear. So let me get my whitening toothpaste and some sort of toothpick or something like that. So what we're using here is Colgate whitening toothpaste. Now, I'd like to thank the guys from Colgate for sponsoring this, but what? They didn't. Really? Okay, so this video isn't sponsored. So I just have some of this toothpaste. I don't know who it's from, but it's toothpaste. And what I'm going to do is, folks, I'm going to put some toothpaste on this. I haven't got a toothpick. So I'm happy to use just the edge of a blade. So I'm just picking up a little bit of toothpaste. Spinning the gear slowly. Okay. And just going to put it on that. Now you can see already, even the toothpaste slowed it down. It's so tight. You know, the little bit of toothpaste instantly made the gears tighter. So leave the toothpaste in and let it do its stuff. And what you do is, you might do it for an hour maybe. Just keep on taking a little bit of toothpaste and putting it on the gear. So I'm going to sit here. I'm going to watch Home Improvement, Tim the Toolman Taylor on video. I'll probably get about 3 episodes in. And come back to me, guys, and let's see if this has improved the meshing of these gears. I had to go down the toothpaste road, as I said, because I couldn't find any paste, like valve grinding paste or something like that, or metal sanding paste. T-cut, I suppose, would be the ideal thing in Ireland and England, but yeah, they don't have it here. This is always the problem here. They have different products to everywhere else in a lot of European countries. So I'm just going to let that run. I'm just going to keep adding a little bit of toothpaste. And I'm just going to let it keep running and see what happens. So I'll leave it exact same speed and come back to me, guys, and we see how we're doing. Well, I've been putting on this toothpaste for a while. One thing I noticed is the once out of the tube, after a short time, toothpaste becomes very dry. So I'm trying to keep the toothpaste wet by keeping the tube sealed and only taking a little bit at a time. So the toothpaste dries up fairly rapidly. I had this running about an hour, so is it making any difference? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I won't know until I finish and then clean the toothpaste off the gears and put some grease on the gears and see where we go from there. I'm not sure if this method works or not, but anything's worth a try at the moment. So you also have to clean the teeth every now and again of the dry toothpaste. Now I know that works as a like a grinding paste, but it goes completely dry. There's no it's not liquid at all. This viscosity is like completely dry, so I don't think you want it completely dry. So I'm just adding a little bit of this as we go and letting it grind in. Of course, you lose a lot of it as soon as it goes around to the gear side. Take that off. Put a bit on there. Spin it around. Goes onto the pinion gear and then spreads around the crown gear. And once again, start again. Just keep on doing this. Started slow. you can see fairly quickly your toothpaste starts flying everywhere. Okay. Let's leave that now for another while. So all in all, I've done this for about an hour and a half. It's a slow process, but if it works, it's great, because this really is a car that I really like as a model. So it'd be nice to be able to get this running right and race it against similar cars. So, okay, I'll come back to you. Later on, I'm going to clean this with a toothbrush and some water. And then we're going to add some gear grease to it and oil those plastic bearings a bit more and just clean everything up and see how we go from there. And whatever, it's an interesting experiment to see if this method actually works. So there we go. Not sticking quite as much. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to go now, I'm going to clean all this off using an old toothbrush and water to clean it off the crown gear, and a toothbrush to clean up the pinion, and then I'll stick some grease on it and run it for a while and see how it sounds. So I've greased up the gears and I've put a bit of oil on the plastic bearings. So just a bit of grease on the pinion gear and the crown gear. Spot of oil here and here. I didn't sand the axle because the axle's moving fairly freely anyway. But see what you think. Definitely a lot smoother. And that's at a very low setting. And she's not sticking. So I'm going to put it on the track in a while. Put the tires back on. Put it on the track. See how it goes. But you can even hear yourselves. That sounds a lot smoother. Oops. Bit of grease flying there. Guys, that's a hell of a lot smoother, isn't it? Try and get it to run slowly as possible. And that's not sticking at all now. That crown gear and pinion gear, the mesh on that now is much smoother. So next thing I do is give it a run. It was very hard to drive. It was like very sudden throttle, and on braking, it was very sudden braking. It was very, very difficult because the motor was sticking, and you know, the gears were sticking and unsticking, and it was like driving a normal car with a very bad gearbox. So yeah, very interesting experiment. The next piece will be, I will put it back together and I'll try it on the track. I'm sorry I didn't show you it running on the track before this experiment, but it was terrible, and I think you can hear the difference anyway. That's a lot quieter than it was. That's a lot better. Perfect. That is much nicer than it was. Okay, the proof will be in the run around the track. Well, here I am, guys, with the car on the track. And I have to tell you, it is hugely improved. I've got a car that was going to be a shelf queen and now is completely drivable. And I won't be put off buying another Fly car now because I know that's something I can easily sort. So absolutely, if someone wants to know, the Toothpaste idea definitely works. Absolutely works. This car runs so much nicer now. So much nicer than it did before. Now, excuse me, I'm driving one-handed. I'm filming with the other hand. But it's completely more controllable. It doesn't brake. As soon as you let the throttle, it rolls. You can see it rolling there when I let off the throttle. And I can go slow speed into the corners. Fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. I can get my slides. Give it a little bit of a slide on purpose. That is wonderful. So I've got a car now that is absolutely fit for racing against other similar cars, maybe from the Scale Electrics range, maybe the Mini or something like that. So there you go, folks. So let me just bring this car around. You can see, completely controllable. It was terrible. I'm so happy with that. That has made a huge difference. That car is completely usable as a fun slot car now. So there you are. I have to say, I had my doubts. Let me show you my mug. I had my doubts about this Toothpaste method of grinding the gears, but it makes sense, you know. I mean, When I worked on old mini engines years ago, and A-series engines that were in Morris Minors and minis, I mean, you had your grinding paste, and you ground in valves and things. So there's logic to it. You know, any sort of a paste that is a little bit of a abrasive will grind down gears and valves and whatever. So yeah, toothpaste. How cheap is toothpaste? And this car is completely drivable, and there's no more binding of those gears. Absolutely smooth. There's no sticking anywhere. So there you go. If anyone has a car from FLY or any other manufacturer and you think it might be the gears, well, that's what to do. Do the whitening toothpaste. Don't forget, it's got to be whitening, because that has the little miniature, like tiny molecules of grit for whitening your teeth. So it is like a grinding paste. But my only advice would be, keep refreshing the paste. Take the dry stuff off the gears and keep on putting some new stuff on. And then when it dries out, clean it again. So I'm at this about 2 hours today, solid. Cleaning, repasting, running. So about 2 hours, maybe even a little bit longer. But it's worth it. I've taken a car that was going to be a shelf queen, and I now have a car that I can enjoy racing with. So definitely 100% successful experiment. Toothpaste, guys. And you can also have lovely white teeth. Don't know how white they are. But excellent. And this video was not sponsored by Toothpaste Company. They didn't agree. They've lost my services. Could have made a fortune. Could have sold loads of their brand of toothpaste to modelers, to slot car modelers. Guys, you missed out. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Greetings from Latvia, Harry.